And welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop. This is Steve. I'm here with a first impressions video for Union City Alliance. Now, this is a first impressions video because the game is not on Kickstarter, but I have been playing the game quite a bit on Tabletop Simulator and also had a game with the designer himself, Paul. And so I like to just share some of my initial thoughts about the game. First, what is Union City Alliance? It is a cooperative superhero game where you're playing as a hero trying to take down a big bad. Now, honestly, this sounds like every other superhero game out there, so what makes this different? Well, the unique part about this game, it is a deck builder. So not only are you choosing a hero to play, and this is a card-based game where you have a deck of cards to represent that character, but you can also play as that character and change how they interact by changing the contents of the deck, by deck building like you normally would. But in this case, the market is not a set market. The market is actually all over the board, and you have to explore the city to find those cards. So not only can you pull cards from a generic deck, but each hero has a very unique deck that's just to them to basically level them up. I have to be honest here. I honestly wasn't looking for another superhero game. There's plenty of them out there, but Union City Alliance caught me by surprise. One of the things that stands out for me is how you can customize each hero. A lot of superhero games out there say, okay, you know what? Here's my hero. Here's how you play it, and it's fun to explore like how they work, what type of theme they have to them, how you can interact with other heroes in the game. But with this game, like I said before, with the deck building, you can really customize how it works. In fact, I built a character called, I was playing the Wrangler, who's able to lasso different guys and pull them towards you. So you know what? I was like, oh, cool. You know what? I'll just bump up his attack really big. And so I'll lasso people towards me and just try to one-shot them, which is really fun until I ran into enemies that I couldn't one-shot. And then I didn't have enough defense, so I had to like customize my build after that point. But it was fun to explore how that worked. I also really appreciate how the city works in this game. Like I said before, you start on a central tile, and you can explore outwards, and you can move diagonally. So there is a tactical element to this game where you are represented by a standee or potentially a miniature, depending on how the campaign goes, and you are moving around the board. And the interesting thing about this is as you explore the board, different locations appear, which have interesting thematic tie-ins, and you have different events that appear throughout that area. And so you may run into like the high school and oh yeah, someone wants to take a selfie with you or something kind of fun like that. Or you may run to like a nuclear power plant or a fallout area and now there's an enemy out there and it just varies quite a bit and it makes it feel pretty alive when I'm playing this game. I really enjoy that aspect of it. Now, one thing I'm not really a fan of in games is player elimination, and it is in Union City Alliance. However, I gotta give them credit that I think they did a good job with managing that elimination. In this case, what you do is, while you are no longer part of the game because your stamina went down to zero, you are able to pass cards from your hand to any other player. So that makes it interesting because now I'm still invested in the game. And that's important when you run into a player elimination. And so I'm asking the players who's still in the game, like, okay, what are you trying to do? What cards can I give you to make the biggest bang for your buck? And like, what single and the kicker is I can pass a single card, so I really have to be careful like which one is going to help the most in the situation. So the nice thing about that is while player elimination generally removes my investment from games, this provides a level of investment that can still keep me going. And honestly, with having a bigger hand size for the other player, normally that also fosters bigger epic turns, which is fun at the end of the game. Being a cooperative channel, I have to talk about cooperation. And I'm pleased to say there is a good amount of cooperation in this game. I was very happy with it. There are a number of cards that I play the card and says pick a hero, pick another hero, or pick yourself. And so there are a lot of opportunities to say, hey, you know what? I can give myself a heroism point that lets me get these awesome upgrade cards, but I see that you're like one or two away from something amazing. You take the point this time, so you can get leveled up, and maybe later on you protect me or help defend for me or whatever the case may be. It made it really, really fun and engaging. So one thing to be aware of, this game has lots of keywords in it. You'll see keywords like achieve and rally and debut. And while these keywords work and they make sense, they are not intuitive at all. Like the good news is on the back of the rulebook, there is a glossary. I highly recommend looking at the glossary when playing this game, especially for your first time. Now, after my first time playing it, I felt like I had a grasp on the keywords, so it wasn't a huge hurdle, but there is a learning curve to be aware of, and it's going to take a little bit extra time on your first plays through this game. There is no true solo option in this game, meaning that like I cannot choose to play the game by myself as a single hero. The minimum is playing as two heroes. And a big part of that is the fact that there's just a lot of cooperation in this game where Oh yeah, I need to pick another hero, and so you need another target for a lot of those cards anyway. Now, I play the game multi-handed, and I didn't have any problems with it. And I'm not the type of person that generally likes to play multi-handed, so I suspect this won't be an issue for a lot of people, but just pointing it out there. The last thing I'll mention is the variety in the game. The variety in the game I suspect will be very high. Now, caveat being, I've only seen a portion of the game and what's available in the demo form and looking through the other cards and just what's out there now. So basically, what it boils down to is you have a variety of which heroes you want to play as, and each hero you can level them up as well. Now, the cards that are specific to leveling up that hero, you will not buy all of them. In fact, you'll see a subset of them and you'll build some type of engine or synergy around those cards. And that also synergizes with, of course, the market cards you buy. The market will have a core set of cards. There may be other core sets of those in the future. And not only that, but the market cards themselves, you will add 2 team up cards in there. What that means is 2 heroes that are not in the game have hero cards that tie to them thematically somehow. And so you shuffle those into the game. So basically what it means is if I'm playing as 2 heroes and I know that, you know what, they're not very defensive, or maybe I wanted some more defense available to me in the game, I could take the 15 cards from the team up deck from that hero and shuffle it into the market deck. So now I have a more defensive approach or options out for me for this game. So that is what you can do from the hero side. And then on the villain side, of course, they have their own machinations you can mess with, meaning that like they will play differently. Like the Dino gangsters you see, you have to go to the edges of the board and try to hunt down the mob bosses, for example. There's another one that tries to build control towers, and you have to stop them from controlling the board. And then another one, you know what, it's just a giant monster that wants to smash everything. So there's gonna be a variety in there as well. And then on top of that, there's also a city deck that has different events that come out that you can interact with. But you can actually have a scenario deck that mixes into that as well. So maybe you want to have pirates that come to the city and now deal with them. So long story short, there's a lot of different knobs and levels or levers you can pull for this game, and there should be a lot to play with. I hope this brief summary was useful to you and the things that I experienced when I was playing through the game. Now, like I said before, this is just a first impressions. There are aspects of the game that I haven't played. I've not played a physical copy, so take this with a grain of salt. But hopefully this informs you one way or the other if these types of elements are interesting to you. Now, personally for me, I'm a sucker for superheroes, and this one I really enjoyed. I had a lot of very fantastic plays. In fact, there's a play on our One Stop Co-op Shop stream channel where I played with Paul the designer, and the ending was a very epic finish. So that was particularly fun. So if you're interested in seeing a playthrough of that, go check that out. I also know that we'll probably have more content for this coming out, and we'll be notifying you of that. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next stop.